men's and women's swimming student athletes. And next up, we will welcome the champs to the Zoom tonight. The volleyball and field hockey team will be joining us, and both of them champions in their own right. Of course, the field hockey team winning the Centennial Championship this year, getting back to the Final Four for the second straight season. And on the volleyball side, they made history this year, 35-0 for the volleyball squad, and the first ever national championship in program history, as we are joined by our volleyball and field hockey student athletes. And starting with Abby, could you guys just go around real quick and introduce yourselves to everyone?
Yeah, I'm Abby Burke. I'm a sophomore. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I'm a midfielder, and my major is public health and medicine science.
I can go next. I'm Natalie Aston. I'm a junior setter from Los Angeles, California, and I'm studying behavioral biology.
Guess I'll go next. My name's Tina. I'm a senior on the field hockey team. I played forward. I actually graduated in December with a major in cognitive science.
And my name's Morgan. I'm a junior, I guess a little of everything, but mostly Penn and DS. And I'm majoring in public health and biology.
Now, you guys all ended up with some hardware this season, but we'll start with field hockey, and we will start with Christina in your senior year. Now, I know you guys had the goal of winning it all, and you came up a little short, but to get back to the Final Four and win the conference championship this year, what was it like to see that group this season accomplish all that?
It was really great, especially I feel like the pressure was a little more on this season, while last year, we also made it to the Final Four, but I feel like it wasn't as expected for us to make it that far. So making it this year was definitely, again, like there's more pressure, and beating Tufts was a team who we actually lost to last season in the Final Four. So it was really good to, I guess, that making that same step to the Final Four was a little bit more meaningful this year. But yeah, it definitely was hard to lose, especially against a team we had played before, but sometimes that comes with playing a team so many times. But also the progress since my freshman year, not even making the conference tournament, was a big one. So still feels good.
Abby, Christina mentioned it a little bit, but go back to that moment when Izzy scores the goal in overtime against Tufts. What was that like? What was that just group like, and the sideline rushing out there, that whole moment?
Yeah, that was a crazy moment because, like Tina said, we'd lost to Tufts last year, and it was definitely a tough loss. We definitely got outplayed, and we'd all been thinking about that game all season, I'm sure. And so when we saw that they were on our side of the bracket and we were going to hopefully have an opportunity to play them at home, it was definitely a huge redemption moment for us. And then going into overtime was crazy, but the energy before overtime was like so insane, so great. And so going into overtime with that energy, and then in the first minute getting a corner, and then Coach Britt, she drew that one up, and I was actually right there on the post and like saw the ball go past my stick, which I was like, oh no, like there's no one behind me. But then Izzy like dove out of nowhere, and it was crazy. It was an insane goal, and I'm so glad she was there. So, and then the energy after the game, we were all so excited. It was just a great moment to have that kind of redemption moment, like Tina and I talked about, and on our own field.
So over to Natalie now. The national champions in Division III women's volleyball this year, the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays, 35-0, a perfect season. You guys lost 8 sets all year. A lot of teams will lose 8 matches and call it a phenomenal season. Was there a point this year, obviously with you being right in the middle and running the offense, where you felt like this was a team that truly might be the best team in the country, and like you guys could go do what you did?
I don't think there was a point this past season where it just clicked. We actually started thinking along the same lines last spring during our play day. We had 3 pretty solid matches, and I think after the end of that day, we all kind of just looked around and thought to ourselves, like, we have all the right pieces, and next season should be a good one.
Now, over to Morgan, specific, obviously a great season, but specifically the national championship match. You had to play a little bit of a different role with Nicole going out in the match before. But how did you kind of keep yourself calm in that moment? And you were going to be on the court anyway, but maybe not for as many points as you thought until the day before. So what was that experience like for you?
I think, I mean, the whole season, it had kind of just been like, I will go in wherever needed. And at that moment, like, I was needed to play the libero, and that's how I was going to contribute to the game. And it really wasn't that different because I had spent the first couple of matches in the season playing libero after Hada got hurt the first time. So I was acclimated to that. And then I think overall, nerves were up because it was a championship match. But beyond that, like, I just really trusted my team, and I knew that all of them were going to step out there and perform and be there for each other. So that's really where like my faith lied. Yeah.
And for both of you, Natalie and Morgan, you think about how you guys are losing some great seniors, obviously, from this team, but you guys are going to be back and you're still going to be returning a good amount of players. First of all, do you think back at all on these two things? On one, that you're still going to be coming back with a chance to maybe do all this again, and second of all, you had to be the smallest team to ever win a national championship in anything. Do you ever look back on that at all?
I know for me, I get a lot of random messages from friends saying, hey, remember that time you won the national championship? Like, how did that happen? And I still, to this day, have no idea how we managed to do it with 10 people. But I think in large part it was Matt and Amy managing our load and taking into consideration our academic workload as well. But I'm definitely excited for next season, although we'll lose a large presence with Hannah and Lulu being gone. I think we have a great incoming class that will help us, and we're all very excited and staying in touch and doing the best we can to work towards our next goal, even during this quarantine.
I think too. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with such a small team, like we were fortunate in that sense that everyone was able to form such tight connections with each other, and that foundation of trust really was there because each of us knew that like we had to be there and we had to step in because there was no one else to step in for us.
Back to you, Christine, on the field hockey side. You mentioned it briefly a couple minutes ago, but you were really one of these seniors who saw the whole progression of this program from your freshman year to you guys make the Final Four in back-to-back seasons as a junior and a senior. Was there a moment where it all changed? Was it just kind of a gradual increase for you guys? And what was that like, seeing the whole thing play out over 4 years?
Almost yes and no. I think it definitely was gradual, and as time went on, I think everyone just became more into the whole new team culture and putting the time and work in. But at the same time, I would say it was my sophomore year, so Jane had been there for spring season, and we won a few games that I don't like. We didn't really know what to expect, but we were winning and everything was working. And I think from then on, like once we made the conference tournament, and I think that's when we lost that year. But I mean, we knew at that point like this could be done, like that we could get further and further. And then junior year too, we had such a good incoming class both years now, and everything just built up on each other. So once we again made the conference tournament and won that, we're like, all right, we're going. Like this is going to be how our team culture is and how we're going to act from now on, and it just kept getting better. So
now,
yeah,
Abby, for you, it's so different because you come in and you've been here for 2 years and you've made 2 Final Fours. Did the seniors and the juniors and Coach Wells, kind of still, instill in the younger players that, hey, this isn't all easy. Like we had to work from this point to get to these Final Fours.
Definitely. I came in at a really unique time right after they'd come off their season where they had finished in second in the conference tournament, and then barely missed out on an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. So coming in that year and feeling the kind of optimism that they all had for the season and the high hopes and high expectations they had for us was a really cool experience. And also we came in at a unique time, my class, because I came in with 12 players and they had just graduated a large group of girls who contributed to the team. So coming in during that time, I was able to join a lot of my freshman teammates on the field right away, and our upperclassmen teammates did such a good job of welcoming us in and helping us acclimate to the new environment. And then, like Tina said, we just kept winning, like things kept getting better, and our team culture just grew and grew. And so we kind of haven't stopped since then, I guess.
Back over to Natalie and Morgan. This is for both of you, but we'll start with Morgan. A viewer question from Lori Hardesty, who says, what was the biggest challenge of the season for each of you? People may not think in a 35-0 season that there's a lot of challenges, but there's still a lot of challenges to go a whole season without a loss. So what was the biggest one for you, Morgan?
Actually, as far as seasons went, this one was pretty smooth. I think, I guess not to contradict you there, but yeah, there definitely were challenges. I think some of them were, just being on such a small person roster, like always having the worry that maybe like someone would get injured and like we wouldn't have a key player, or sickness would kick in, or like, one person being out is a whole 10th of our team. So it's not quite like it is for large rosters. So in that sense, we were very kind of like careful about our health and keeping our bodies in check and like monitoring how we were feeling after each practice, after each lift, making sure to get adequate rest so we could sustain ourselves and prepare for a long postseason.
Yeah, I think in addition to having that constant fear in the back of our minds, we were on the road, I think the first 5 weekends of the season. So having that schedule was pretty tough, but I think we managed it well, and that just made playing in Goldfarb even sweeter.
Yeah, and you both talked about any injury even shrinks the team even more, and that happened for you, Natalie, in the conference tournament. Obviously, Morgan, you had to step in for a bigger role in the national championship match, but Natalie, you especially, knowing what Annalisa was able to do with you out. Did that give you even more confidence going into the NCAA tournament, knowing that everybody was ready to step up?
Oh, definitely. That was definitely a tough weekend for me having to watch, but I was so proud of the way Annalisa played and how composed she was, but also how bold she was with her decisions. And I think it definitely proved to our team that our training was working and that anyone could step up at any given moment. And yeah, it's a great moment.
Christina, with you being the only senior of the four here right now, when you look back on your 4 years at Hopkins, kind of a two-parter. One, how did you manage for 4 years the academic rigors of Hopkins and being an athlete? And then two, looking back on all of that, what was your favorite moment of those 4 years?
As far as management is concerned, I know this is probably sound cliche, but just being able to manage my time. And I almost found that in season, sometimes it was easier because we were on such a strict schedule and, I'd go home, I'd go eat, and then I'd do my work. And I know personally, I'm someone who definitely needs sleep. So that was always a big priority for me. And I think it helped me in the long run, just be able to stay energized for practice as well as perform in tests and whatnot. And obviously using resources too. And Jane has been really helpful, with letting us or like listening to us when we need time during midterms. She's just very tuned into when we might need a little extra time to study, and when we need resources and whatnot. But yeah, and then my favorite memory, personally, I think, well, I kind of have to. I mean, making the Final Four my junior year was definitely one of them. Just beating Messiah in overtime. We were constantly behind, like trying to pull, and we ended up beating them, and they were number one. So that was, we just never even. We were just kept going, like we didn't know what to expect, and it was just such a good feeling. And then also selfishly, our senior night this year, beating Franklin and Marshall was definitely I'd say my favorite memory. Just that senior night's really special.
Back to Natalie and Morgan, either or both of you can answer this, but this is a question straight from the wonderful Matt Lawrence. He wants to know, what role did the crab rave dance play in your perfect season?
Well, it was really fun. I think I think it's always fun to get student athlete support there, and everyone seemed really into it. I think one of our favorite, I don't even know what's it called, participants in the crab rave was our assistant coach Amy. Her boyfriend Anshul was a staunch supporter of us this year, and he would always come, and he got so into that dance, and it was hilarious because Amy would kind of just be like over this like this on the bench, and we would get a kick out of it.
Yeah, and I just hope it's a tradition that continues. I know basketball carried it on, but hopefully we can get other sports to do it as well.
And for both of you, Natalie and Morgan, that final point in Iowa, and everybody comes running out onto the court, despite it being not a very large group of people to celebrate with. But what was that like, and what do you remember from that exact moment, knowing that you guys had put together a perfect season and you'd get to bring a national championship back?
It was an interesting feeling for me because one, I was in shock, but it also wasn't a huge surprise, and I don't mean that in a condescending way. But I just knew all the work that we had put in was going to pay off, and then having that moment finally, and just waiting for Hada to like walk onto the court, like crying her eyes out, was just an awesome feeling.
For me, it was just, yeah, like Natalie, it was a huge culmination of basically everything we've been working towards, like not just this season, but all the work that people have put in past seasons, like our freshman year, our sophomore, the alumni before us, like everything has led up to, that point and every point past that. So it's just another, point, a step in our journey. And hopefully we'll have more of those points. But yeah.
Is it fun to walk by through Goldfarb and just see the trophy and the net and the hat sitting in the glass case?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I know Matt is very proud of his presentation, the way he arranged everything as well.
Yeah, he took very good care of that trophy.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on our student athlete panel. Our student athletes from field hockey and volleyball, the 2019 national champions, and wish you guys all continued success, and hoping you're staying safe during this time.
Thank you.
You too, thanks.
Oh.
So those were